Welcome to The Bone, the podcast that goes deeper. Here we cut through the noise and get straight to the core of the issues that matter. From real stories to raw truths, we dive deep into the conversations that shape our world and challenge our thinking. We're not afraid to dig in and get to the marrow of it all. Whether it's life, culture, or business in sports medicine, we're here to break it down raw and real. No filters, no fluff, just to the bone. With your host, Shelby Daly, we're getting to the bone. This is a clinically pressed, approved CEU podcast. Find the quiz to gain credit at clinicallypressed.org/courses. Clinically Pressed Company, making the complicated simple through results that give back. Find out more at clinicallypressed.org. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Bone. Today I have Augie Melendez. He's a certified athletic trainer and founder of Combat Sports Medicine. Augie has carved out a unique role working ringside and cage side as both an athletic trainer and a professional cutman, supporting some of the toughest athletes in the world. From managing injuries in the middle of a fight camp to controlling bleeding between rounds, his work demands precision, calm under pressure, and a deep understanding of what it means to keep fighters safe while helping them perform at their best. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We recently just met at the BOC Panel 9 for the practice analysis, and I thought you would be an interesting person to have on to talk more about combat sports medicine, especially with my little background on jiu-jitsu. But I have so many questions on, boxing and all those other events that you cover. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Of course, thank you for having me.
So what led you specifically into the world of combat sports? And was there a defining moment or opportunity that pulled you in?
I began Taekwondo at the age of 9. So growing up, I'd watch a lot of boxing fights with my dad. And of course, all the Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. And all my friends were playing basketball and baseball, and I wanted to be a ninja. So he saw me up at Taekwondo at 9. I got my black belt at like 13. I got tired of getting kicked in the face, so I started boxing at 16 because that was a great idea. I've been boxing ever since, and I actually picked up jiu-jitsu at 28. It's been about 2 years of that. It's been fun, but something about the fight game always attracted me.
Yeah. So when you were starting out, did anyone tell you that there wasn't a traditional athletic training path, and how did you navigate that?
When I was a kid, they would always tell me I was injury prone. So I was in the sling, I was in a cast, I had some type of stitches, I was on crutches. That's kind of what guided me into becoming an athletic trainer. And then going through my undergraduate AT program, I sustained a concussion, had a broken nose. I got sidelined with that. And that's when the light kind of turned on. And I was like, there's no, we don't have any ATs within this world. I just got hurt. There's nobody to take care of me. There's no me to help me. My preceptor at the time, it was Takesha Edwards. She was extremely helpful and trying to guide me through this, unknown path. And, I still talk to her to this day. And that's kind of, the coolest part, that I was probably about 20 years old, trying to figure out how to navigate through this. And here we are now, about 10 years later.
Yeah. So while you were practicing, or it was competing or practicing, that this injury happened?
We were getting ready for a competition.
Okay. So after realizing that there wasn't anyone to support you medically, what does it traditionally look like on the sideline or ringside on medical coverage? I know that there's cutmen, but aren't they usually a coach and they're just kind of patching up and making sure you can keep going?
Here and there. Yes. So within like the amateur setting, you have USA Boxing, which is kind of the pipeline into the Olympics. And you do have a ringside physician, which usually they have to be an MD, preferably, some type of ortho ER experience. But growing up through amateur, whether it was, again, Taekwondo, kickboxing, or even boxing, I came across optometrists. I came across chiropractors that were ringside, gynecologists that were ringside. And as I'm going through this athletic training program, I'm becoming more knowledgeable as to what's needed. I was like, so if I get laid out tonight, how are you going to help me? Thankfully, now here in San Antonio, a lot of the orthopedic surgeons and gen med, sports med physicians that I know are now ringside physicians here in the area, kind of South Texas. But even traditionally in the gym, it's just usually your coach and maybe an older gentleman that just knows by experience that's going to tell you, put some Tiger Balm on it and shake it off. It's okay. It's just a tweak. And, it isn't truly, it's a lot more prominent now than it used to be. Like the UFC Performance Institute does have athletic trainers and PTs that work with their fighters. I think the AT more so assists the PT, but then cage side, you just have cutman and a coach. When you get into the pros, it's a whole lot different again with the docs. They get hired by the state commission, but the type of doctor that they are vary state to state, place to place. And there's always EMS there as well, but not really an AT.
So there's no vetting to become a professional cutman ultimately. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes. So even to become a cutman, all it is there's no training. When your fighter, a professional boxer, MMA fighter, and they sign up, you have your list of cornermen, and they have to get a license through the state. $20 maybe. And there's no training. There's no educational background as to, okay, cool, hey, you're competent enough to work this corner. Within USA Boxing at the amateur level to become a coach, they do go through like a safe sport training, and it's a little bit more intricate because it's with children, but medically it's also still not up to par to where it needs.
Gotcha. So in traditional sports, the referees have some training on concussion, maybe a little other things just from experience on medical injuries. For referees in boxing or ring events, cage events, all encompassing, do they get any training on identifying medical conditions?
The referees, I'd assume so. I've never taken the class before, but just having conversations with different officials, both at the amateur and professional level, they have to be able to see if the fighter can continue. And if you watch a regular match, if, like, say in the amateurs, if somebody gets their head cocked back, they get what's called a standing 8 count. So, hey, you just took a pretty clean shot. We're going to count to 8, gather yourself, and see if we can continue. Step to the left, step to the right, come towards me, pick your hands up. And it's not necessarily checking motor function, but it's, okay, can you follow my instructions well? Are you comprehending what I'm saying? But even on the coach's side, it's not known.
Okay. So you've identified this problem. Tell us about your combat sports medicine company and what's the mission behind the company ultimately.
So I always say combat sports medicine, we're fighting injuries one round at a time. And whether that's in the gym, on fight night, or even after the win. And it's being the healthcare professional, the athletic trainer that I wish I had growing up within the fight game. So comprehensive hands-on care, evidence-based practice, expert diagnosis, injury prevention, and true recovery post-op solutions that within this world, sometimes, there's a big gap between the world of fighting and sports medicine. Truly bridging that gap, and whether it's me or a forward ortho, okay, let's make it happen. That way everybody's goals are accomplished.
When you're in a competition, do you stay there the whole time, or are you there for a specific fighter?
It varies. So I do have my USA Boxing coaching license. I do have some amateur fighters that, I'm the guy in their corner as their coach, and then I'm there just for their fight. Within amateur boxing, it's just a ringside physician that covers the entire event. And same thing kind of with the professional fighters. I have my fighters that I coach as well. Like, I'm the assistant coach for them. So I'm their cutman. And I have other fighters who contract me to be their cutman in the corner. Whereas in that corner, I don't coach. I don't speak. I just do my job and, kind of help out the coach as much as I can. In those events as well, there's a ringside physician, and they cover the entire event. Now, God forbid, there has been situations where, let's say, If somebody gets knocked out and they're having a seizure, ringside physician needs assistance. I've always made it a point at every single event. I introduce myself. How you doing? My name's Augie. I'm a certified athletic trainer. But tonight I'm working as a cutman in bout 4 in the red corner. So that way, 1, they know I'm there, and then 2, if you need anything, which hopefully you don't, I'm here as an extra set of hands.
So with the culture of fighting, how do you balance being a healthcare provider with the realities of the fighting world, where athletes are often pushing the limits and cutting weight? There are some unhealthy, maybe cultural norms, approaches. How do you balance that ultimately? And is there a difference between youth fighters and adult fighters?
100%. I love this question. So I understand the goals of from a fighter standpoint, from a coach's standpoint, but as a healthcare professional, I always prioritize the patient and the athlete's well-being. And I think just being present in the gyms, and they got the coaches and the fighters that I work with have gotten to know me over time. They've gained trust. They gain trust, and if there's a certain topic that they may not be as knowledgeable in, hey, let me talk to Augie about it so I can approach this the best way. I've cut weight in the unhealthy way, and it's not good, and it hurts, and it's not great. And looking back now, as an adult, as a professional, no, this could have gone completely different. Different approach with, let's say, like with the kids. The biggest thing is understanding true progression. So even like throughout sparring, okay, so if there's a guy that has more than 20 to 30 amateur fights, I'm not going to put him in there with a beginner that has less than 5.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the kid that has 20 to 30 amateur fights can be controlled and work on technique and not take the beginner's head off, okay, let's work. Or if my kid's in a bad spot and maybe he took a bad shot, hey, let's just work on body shots. Let's just be smart. We'll focus on technique, because nobody wins in a gym war. That's the way we kind of phrase it with them. And another big thing that me and the coach that I work with our kids, we try to minimize a weight cut at all times. If you walk around at 45, 60 pounds, and these are kids under the ages of 10, they can start fighting in USA Boxing, I believe, at 8. There's no reason to cut weight. You're a child, have fun in the sport. Again, it's a grueling process. There's no reason, it should get to that. With the pros, same thing, kind of the same thing what I had mentioned as far as experience. We do say we always spar up, which you're going to spar a guy, move around with a guy that's better than you. That way you improve, but not to where, you're in a bad position and, now your health is at risk. But when it comes to losing weight, it's also being smart. So with all my guys, I'll check in with them. Let's say we're 6 to 8 weeks out. Maybe we're 20 pounds, 15 pounds over at the max, at the most. I'll tell the coach, like, okay, I've cut weight in the most horrible way. But now, like, I'll do an in-body composition test on all my guys. And I'm like, okay, we have this much lean body mass, this much fat. Let's cut the water weight first. We'll start cutting through the fat. And then from there, it's a little bit more realistic when you show the numbers and our goals throughout the week. Within the gym, kind of even within just traditional sports, I do have our urine chart. And it's like there's no reason it should be the color apple juice. If we're going that dark, we're in a very bad spot. And, again, I've educated the coaches and the athletes. This is what can happen. This is what rhabdomyolysis is. This is what happens to, the cerebral spinal fluid in your brain whenever you're dehydrated. And slowly but surely, again, kind of just spread that word amongst the different gyms that I come across.
Since you're still probably one of the only athletic trainer cutman coaches, is it an up-and-coming job? Are you seeing more of these positions popping up? Are you involved in the medical regulations for the different organizations? Where are you at ultimately in the whole scheme of things?
I think within even USA Boxing, it's more so volunteer. That's kind of it is for all the coaches, even for the ringside physicians at some levels. Think about Olympic officials. A lot of them is volunteer based. I do have my day job. I'm there for the kids. Now, whenever I did realize that this was maybe a couple years ago, there's a ringside physician that was supposed to cover an event, and he ended up leaving in the middle of the event for whatever reason. So they had to call the entire tournament. South Texas Amateur Boxing Association gave me a call and said, like, hey, do you know any doctors that may be willing to, get their ringside physician exam through USA Boxing? And I gave them about 6. Thankfully, that relationship has been great. From the amateur standpoint, that helps out a lot. I think right now with at the professional level, the state commission kind of has everything down pat as far as injuries, and then true physicals, eye exams, things of the sort. Kind of a pre-fight physical. The only thing that I would say is missing is like a concussion baseline. All of my guys have a concussion baseline, whether it's like King Devix or I know what their SCAT 5 or whatever number that I may be utilizing is. I know what their normal is, and I just wish across the board, everybody did as well. But I think it's still a big, big bridge to fill there, a big gap to fill there as far as, okay, an AT can come into this position, kind of like black belt sports medicine. AT comes into this position and you're covering this event for jiu-jitsu.
Mm-hmm.
It's still, we're not there yet, unfortunately. It's a very, very old school sport.
Gotcha.
Hey listeners, ever find yourself on the sidelines needing that one crucial item? Look no further than Nexus Sports Medicine. Nexus is your go-to partner for creating comprehensive medical kits and accessories tailored for athletic trainers in any setting. From high school fields to professional arenas, Nexus has you covered. These kits are designed by an athletic trainer with meticulous organization, ensuring that you're always prepared, no matter the situation. Stay ahead of the game with Nexus Sports Medicine and keep your athletes safe and thriving. Check out Nexus Sports Medicine at nexus-sportsmed.com. That's Nexus, Nexus -sports, SPORTSMED.com to find out more and get your perfect gear today.
In sports medicine, we talk a lot about recovery, but not all recovery tools are created equal. Mark Pro isn't just another muscle stim unit. It's a recovery technology trusted by elite athletes, athletic trainers, and rehab professionals. Whether you're grinding through tournaments, back-to-back practices, or long clinic days, Mark Pro helps your muscles recover faster, perform better, and feel fresher tomorrow. By improving muscle activation and promoting natural circulation, Mark Pro clears out fatigue and accelerates your body's natural healing without soreness or downtime. Use Mark Pro to stay ahead of fatigue and keep performance consistent, because in sports medicine, recovery is performance. Head to markpro.com and use the code TOTHEBONE for an exclusive listener discount. That's to the bone at markpro.com. Mark Pro, the best in recovery.
So, since this is still kind of an up-and-coming sport, what skills or mindsets does it take to earn trust in this space from the fighters, the coaches, and the promoters? I know with some of the non-traditional sports, especially when it's high risk like this, many athletes are very timid on actually approaching medical personnel or even telling anybody about symptoms or pain because they might get pulled from the event. How do you work around this ultimately?
I think consistency may be one of the biggest things. As far as consistency, I think athletes and coaches across all levels are, people of habit. They see you more often if they know who you are, what you do, maybe the time commitment that you have, it means more. And with the consistency also comes the reps. So in order for you to be there and, you're cool, calm, and collected, whether you're working the corner or you're doing an eval, you're confident in your eval, the biggest thing just being confident, being consistent, that comes over time. And, I tell every single athlete, I don't have x-ray vision. I can't figure out an MRI, if this is a labral tear or not. But this is what my special tests are. We can do a referral to, orthopedic, kind of go from there. But if they know you have the same goals as they do, and, they'll buy in a whole lot better. So being consistent, and then being confident, understanding the sport. Kind of similar to, I've had experience like with rugby athletes that are, again, the same boat, and, they want to play and they want to participate. Okay, let me make sure you're safe. Let me make sure I can let you know that you can protect yourself, but also protect your teammate. Because there's a lot bigger things at stake here.
Yeah. Well, I know working professional skateboarding and BMX, from my experience, they didn't like authority at all because they're usually running from authority.
Yeah.
So when they actually were in events that were sponsored and had medical professionals, they just kind of skirted around the system and kind of hid. And, it was trying to break that stigma of, no, we're just trying to help you, not disqualify you or, take you to jail ultimately.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how those stigmas ultimately are created in the heads of some of these athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So we went through the lineup of people who are on the ringside. For listeners that might not know, what does a cutman exactly do, and what is the difference between you and a cutman ultimately? Or an athletic trainer. Sorry. Yes,
No
athletic
worries,
trainer.
Oh, shoot. So cutman, it's your damage control in between rounds. So you have about 60 seconds, whether it's MMA or boxing, or even, again, Muay Thai, kickboxing. It's all the same 1 minute break. Your damage control, stop the bleeding from lacerations, control swelling, and, okay, let me patch you up so you can go out there and, work one more round. Triage, honestly. I know that was a fun word whenever we did our BOC meeting.
Yeah.
Some some cutman wrap hands, some don't. And I do. And with wrapping hands, I kind of just leave it up to the coach and the athlete. If that's a relationship they have, I'll never, interrupt their pre-fight ritual. And if I do wrap a fighter's hands, and I'll usually tell them, all right, let me come wrap you at the gym. That way, if you like it, we have to make some adjustments. We're not making them on fight night. But my approach as an AT, I believe, a little bit more comprehensive eval. As an AT, as a coach, I know what I'm watching within the sport. And of course, I do look for a common question I get all the time is, how do you evaluate for a concussion? Similar to football, similar to even like to rugby, is not so much head-to-head contact there, but they're making, jarring movements when they hit the ground, things of the sort. But even as a coach, as an athletic trainer within the sport, you look at their, the patterns of gait. Are they crossing their feet when they're moving side to side laterally? Is their reaction time a little bit differently? Whenever we're speaking to them in the corner, are they comprehending every single thing that we're not shouting out at them, but giving them? And sometimes, it's the other guy's night and you're a step behind. But one of the biggest things as an AT, I tell my fighters, I tell my coaches, and even the ringside physician, I'll stop it before you do, I promise. It's just one of those things that, hey, we're not in the best spot. I know there's always a fighter's chance, a lucky punch that may, change it, which is very true. But again, at what risk, at what cost?
Mm-hmm. What are the most common injuries that you do see when you're managing a corner?
Nosebleeds, lacerations, swelling. Your lacerations can be anywhere between just like kind of zygomatic bone over the top of the eyebrow. It could be a headbutt, a knee, an accidental headbutt, a knee, an elbow kind of gash anywhere between the hairline, and then just your traditional nosebleeds. I have had some fighters with deviated septums, and that's just more so. We'll look at that after, like, the post fight. Like, okay, hey, Augie, my nose looks weird. I'm like, okay, cool, me too. and one of those things, we can do an ENT referral if you want, or let's just circle back to it when you're done with your career.
post-competition care. Are you doing suturing? Are you following up with the athletes? What does that look like post-competition?
So whenever, even in the amateurs and in the professional level, you have to check in with the ringside physician before you go to the back of the locker room. And they'll look at their gums, their teeth, their lips, they'll look at their hands. If there is a cut, the ringside physician usually does the suturing. And if it's a small one, the docs here in the city tell me, Augie, you can series strip that if you want. Augie, you can dermabond that if you want. Save this guy a trip to the ER. But that's a relationship I've kind of built with them. And then when it comes to hand injuries, I'll kind of tell the guys, okay, it's normal. This seems more like a bone bruise as opposed to you have a metacarpal fracture. Let's get some imaging. With my fighters, I'll tell them, all right, let me know how you feel tomorrow. Let me know how you feel Monday. Kind of circle back. It's normal for you to be sore, but you got to let me know if your brain hurts. And then we'll go into our, concussion stuff. Thankfully, within, again, what I've found, at least within the fight game, true concussions, let me phrase this the right way. If you get hit behind the head, it's, of course, that's a lot more likely to, okay, he has a concussion. I'm not saying that, he gets punched in the face or the side of the head. It may not happen, but I'm saying it's called a rabbit punch, which they're illegal in both MMA and boxing. If you hit somebody behind the head, that's more so with me in the corner. Hey, ref, you need to look at those a little bit more, but also tell my other coach, let's pay attention to him, when he comes to the corner, while he's out there, his mannerisms, to make sure that he is okay. Let's pay attention to him post-fight, things of the sort. But most of my guys, though, they might come by, to do a cold tub, the Normatec boots, some type of active recovery. And, a lot of fighters take about 2 weeks off of just nothing. But, I check in with them throughout that time. And then, God forbid, if they did sustain, what's called a technical knockout or a knockout at the professional level, their license does get suspended for an extended period of time. And they have to go get cleared by a physician. Fortunately, there is no true return to fight protocol. I do run my guys through a regular return to play concussion, kind of that I've adjusted a little bit. But just everywhere else at different gyms, there's nobody overseeing that progression. Those little things that, hopefully one day will change.
So since this is a game of pain, ultimately,
Of course.
the relationship between pain and risk, how do you educate your athletes between, maybe this might be simplifying it, it's a bruise, rather than, this may be an actual real injury? I'm sure they have a good experience of what's common pain and what is escalated, damaging pain. But even for the kids that you're working with, how do you educate them on the differentiation?
So I'll teach them early about the difference between, there's being sore, there's being hurt, and then there's being injured. All three of them are completely okay. If you're sore, warm up, jump rope, go on your run, come back, let me know how you feel, stretch out, foam roll. We'll talk about it. If you're hurt, it's something that we may have to treat going into a fight or during a camp. But it's not, let's say, like bicep tendonitis. You're hurt. If you're injured, you have a ruptured bicep. Okay, this is different. This needs imaging. This needs actually, see, an ortho, somebody that can truly order an MRI, things of the sort, and get this taken care of. And I think the biggest part is educating them. Like with my little guys, educating them young. Like, it's okay to hurt. I don't want you to, to think it's soft. Communicate with me. Let me know how you feel. And with the little ones in the corner, I let them know, it's like, are you having fun? Are you good? Okay, cool. I need you to just beat him to the punch. Is he hurting you? Okay, is he hurting you to where you want to stop? Or is it something that we can, we have to go get your shot back? Keeping it fun for them, but also letting them know that it's okay to communicate. And it's the same thing with, kind of like some of the dads that I work with. They're amazing coaches as well. And, your son. So if you guys go home and he's a little off, or he's not his normal self, call me, say something, we'll figure it out together. And I kind of tell the older guys that too. You got to push to a certain like I say, during training, like as a pro, you have to push through your limits, but also understand what is normal, what isn't. Communicate, hey, maybe Augie should really take a look at my shoulder, or my hands feel a little funky. And all we have to do is, let's say, wrap a little bit differently, and it'll release some of that, stress within the carpal tunnel. Oh my God, we fixed it without surgery.
Yeah.
Little things like that.
How do you handle the athletes that want to keep pushing through something that may be medically disqualifying, or they shouldn't really keep going? How do you manage those type of situations?
I've always been realistically optimistic as much as I can. But someone was like, okay, look, this is the big picture. This is the position that we're in. These are the end results. I'm happy you want to, work through it, but it's not in your best interest. We've done the same thing with fighters that we tell to step away. Just, hey, bud, I know you love the sport. Maybe you shouldn't compete. Maybe you should just train. Because the same thing, we don't want to see anybody truly injured. And let's say, like, where there's always ways to modify and to make adjustments. If you have a football player that has an AC joint sprain, okay, let me take him out of contact first. Let me put him in a different colored jersey so nobody touches him. Let me put a skeleton pad on him. That way he has a little bit more support, or a donut, things of the sort. Same thing within the boxing, within the fight game. His wrist hurt. He has a bone bruise. Let me put him on the aqua bag instead of the big heavy bag, and it's a little bit more resistance, but it's not as it's a little bit more forgiving whenever he makes impact. And I tell the guys, I was like, you're training in 10-ounce gloves, 12-ounce gloves, which is like a fight glove. Let me put you back into 16-ounce gloves so we have more padding. So you're protecting your sparring partner, and just little things like that. Not so much compromising. I'll tell the guys, like, look, please listen to me. I'm here to help you. I'm here to be an advocate for you in your corner. But I'll work with you. I don't know if I'll meet you halfway every single time, but I'll work with you for sure.
With combat sports, I know that in jiu-jitsu specifically, there are some limitations on braces, on tapes, on topical rubs and all that. Is that the same for your athletes, and how do you navigate that?
So even like with MMA, you can't grease the body, right? You can't grease the body in the corner. It's the same exact thing in boxing. The referee always says you can moisturize in the back, but don't do it in the corner. Don't do it in front of me, as we're getting ready to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Some commissions, like it really depends. Some commissions will allow a fighter to wear a knee brace. Not a huge, bulky lineman knee brace, but if it's, a small one with some brackets, okay, whatever. Same thing. Some commissions don't even like kinesio tape, and it kind of just depends. It's preference. It's not really anything truly there in the rule book, but I've had some officials that tell me, like, hey, you need to take the K tape off the shoulder mid-fight. I'm not gonna have the conversation. All right, take it off. It's easy. It's okay. We're winning anyways. But little things like that, I'll tell the fighter, it's okay. This is here to help us. We don't need it, and kind of something that we can use as a guide throughout camp. But by the time we get to the fight, let's lose a brace. Let's get away from the tape. You got Canelo Alvarez, who's one of the best boxers in history. He'll wear a knee brace that's kind of like skin tone colored, but it's just like a compression sleeve. Nobody tells Canelo anything. Same thing with like kinesio tape that he puts on his calves and stuff. But again, different level. And I tell my guys, it's not worth the argument. It's not worth the fight. It's okay. You're in a good spot. Let's continue. But rarely, it's not a huge thing to see like a CBD oil or like a Voltaren or even a Tiger Balm or a BioFreeze. A lot of the guys just say like, okay, my shoulder's a little sore, a little achy. Let me get warm. Let me do the band work Augie gave me, and it usually goes away, which thankfully is a huge plus.
Yeah. Since these athletes are taking more than normal stress on their bodies or pushing through normal limitations, what does a recovery program look for like these athletes? And do you have a mental or a physical recovery program that you try to implement with them?
I think it varies. It varies within not just the gym, but I think culturally, depending where we're at, part of the world. with my guys, the biggest thing that I ask them every single day is, what did you eat today? And at the gym that I'm at right now, we train at about 6 p.m. Central Time. I've been at gyms in California, Las Vegas, where they train at 11, they train at 2. So, okay, all I have was breakfast, or this is my fasted workout of the day. It's a different approach for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I have my guys at 6 p.m. Training, and I asked them, I was like, "What did you eat today?" And hopefully, it's 2 big meals, 2 good meals, and then a snack. Or what time did you wake up today?
Mm-hmm.
And if they woke up at noon, please tell me you ate something before you got here. Those are my younger kids that I kind of have to remind, hey, did you hydrate? Did you eat today? I'll shoot them a text in the middle of the day, like, hey, we're sparring tonight. Please tell me you're eating something as we speak. Those constant check-ins. And then with my younger guys, just teaching them how important sleep is, how important true sleep and hydration. And it's tough when you're cutting weight, because the culture, the norm is, okay, if I train late at night, I'm not going to eat anything after the gym because I have to make weight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guilty of doing that when I was younger. And I tell the guys now, it's okay to eat. I need you to recover. I need you to have something in your body. And then, we'll get back to it in the morning. And sleep.
You work hard. You train hard. You take care of everyone else. But when was the last time you treated yourself? That's where Source Soap comes in. Created by athletes for athletes, Source Soap is an all-natural recovery soap that helps wash away soreness, inflammation, and fatigue. With ingredients like peppermint, eucalyptus, and activated charcoal, it's basically self-care disguised as a shower. Whether it's after a long training session, a tournament weekend, or just a tough day, Source Soap helps you reset, recover, and smell amazing. Because taking care of your body shouldn't stop when you leave the gym. So go ahead, treat yourself. Head to sourcesoap.com and use the code
TTB15. That's TTB15 for 15% off your order. Because recovery starts with you.
Hey friends, quick break to talk about something that's changing the game in sports medicine: red light therapy. We're talking real science and results. There are over 4,000 research papers showing how light can help with inflammation, pain, tissue healing, swelling, and musculoskeletal conditions. The team at Fringe took that research and created red light therapy tools designed by rehab experts and sports medicine professionals, built to deliver light directly to the tissues that need it most, promoting healing from the inside out. And get this, no wires, no EMF, no flicker, and absolutely no bad vibes. Whether you're running a clinic, working in an athletic training room, or recovering at home, these tools are a game changer for performance and recovery. Check them out at fringeheals.com and get 10% off with the code TOTHEBONE10. That's TOTHEBONE10 for 10% off.
My older fighters, I'll tell them, I'll just say, hey, like, you're still going out? Are you still having alcoholic beverages at home? It's not the smartest thing to do. Your body's kind of playing catch up, really messing up protein synthesis. And if I break it down to them, like, oh, okay, cool, thought I wasn't making this much of a not necessarily a mess, but okay, let me stop what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, it gets tough throughout the camp. Kind of just making sure everything's as happy as it can be at home. Sometimes people say that the fight game is a lonely sport, lonely road, and a lot of those guys, it's a physical manifestation of what they have inside them in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those check-ins with my guys, I'm wrapping their hands, or even like I'm putting the Vaseline in the corner in the gym. How was your day? What did you eat today? How's your mom doing? Little check-ins like that, and then building those relationships kind of just go a long way. With my little guys, I ask them every day, what'd you learn today at school? If you didn't learn anything, you shouldn't be here. Go home.
So post-fight, what does the return to training look like? I know that at least with the professionals, they usually take maybe a week, month, whatever, quite a long time until they start training again. Is that the same for your athletes, or is it a little bit different?
It'll vary. It'll vary for sure. I have guys that I can't get, to sit down and just rest. And I have guys that we have to call them like, hey, are you ever going to come back or not? I think it varies for sure. My biggest thing is, okay, let your mind and your body truly rest, recover. Go on vacation if you want, cool, whatever. But one of the biggest things, kind of even just like a football progression. Okay, let's work for 2 weeks. Let's take football camp is what I'm saying. Let's work for 2 weeks until we start making contact. So you're gonna come in, you're gonna run, you're gonna jump rope, you're gonna work the focus mitts, you'll work the bag. Okay, cool. You have your legs back under you. You have your lungs back. Let's work our way back into sparring. And then same thing. Okay, let me work with somebody that's about the same level as you. Maybe you're working with them, working on strategy and technique and stuff. Okay, you've been back for a month. It's time to pick it up. And then just slowly continue that progression. And thankfully, again, I'm surrounded by some very knowledgeable coaches here in San Antonio that they agree. They agree within that progression. If there's anybody, like any hiccups within a training, it's the biggest thing. Of course, we're sparring up to be better, but you can't break a guy's confidence going into a fight because he's getting his butt kicked the entire camp. So it's a good blend, good balance between the two.
Are there any emerging techniques, tools, or rehab methods that you're excited about in combat sports medicine?
I think one of the coolest things that I saw recently that the UFC is utilizing is the mouthpiece that measures their heart rate while they're in the fight. For years, you'll have athletes that'll wear the regular heart rate meter. I'll train with my Oura ring from time to time. I've met a lot of either like jiu-jitsu or MMA guys that they'll have their whoop, and they sell I think it's like a brief that they can put in their waistband. Or I've met other athletes, they'll put their whoop band on their bicep. But I think just keeping up with the calorie count, your heart rate, your zone training, if that's like a big focal point for a person as a coach, as an athlete. But seeing that calorie count and not becoming obsessed with it, one, but also being smarter with, your approach with food, having a healthy diet with food. But I think just whenever I was fighting, the only cool, I guess, smart device at the time was somebody put an accelerometer, kind of like the one that's in like an Apple Watch. They put it in a glove. So they put it in a glove and you could count how many times you would punch. I think it was like power and force, and they were waiting on a patent, but yeah, I don't think they got it. But just seeing more so like the sports science aspect kind of circling back into this world. And the UFC's done a lot of amazing studies on their guys and their fighters and such, but I think it's to be continued to to see the numbers and see how it truly plays into factor into the game.
So this is obviously very interesting. It touches my heart since I've worked with jiu-jitsu for so many years. If other athletic trainers wanted to find opportunities like this or learn more, get involved, how would you recommend them doing that?
I think the easiest part is get into a gym. And the biggest thing is get into a gym and just learn the sport. Learn the sport as an athlete, even if it's like a fitness boxing gym. It doesn't have to truly be, you have to go compete to be a part of it. But understanding the athlete and then the coaches, slowly over time, they'll learn more about you and what you do and who you are. And as we know, what we know as ATs, it's all about education. And then slowly but surely, if somebody will say, "Well, hey, I have the bicep tendonitis or my wrist is hurting," it might be, TFCC. Do I have to get surgery? And then those opportunities just come about. Like I said, with USA Boxing, with the amateurs, a lot of that's volunteer based. And even once you get to the professional level as a cutman, it's like a percentage of the fighter's purse. So you got to think about a lot of these guys, as soon as they start, they're not making much at all. And it's understanding that part of the game. I I've been blessed, thankfully, as a AT, as a fighter, as a coach. I've within combat sports medicine, I'll have guys that come see me for treatment, and I'll do that as like a cash based clinic approach, and they'll value me, as an athletic trainer. And then I tell everybody all the time, combat sports medicine is what I do as an AT. What you see on TV, you're in the corner of me as a cutman. That's just a small glimpse of what the entirety of our profession as of athletic trainers is. Little things like that. There's so many health and wellness spas that are opening up. A lot of PT, chiropractor, cash-based clinics. I'm very happy to see ATs are taking the same approach. But just educating the athlete, the parent, and the coach as to, hey, this is what we do. This is how I can help, and I'm more than willing and able to be there for you in your corner.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one thing that their perception of combat sports is very interesting. So obviously, we all have our niches and where we work at and what we're comfortable with. Combat sports is very intense. It's high repetition, which is great. And I think a lot of new grads need that nowadays. So I always recommend to students, if you have a chance to go do combat sports, go do it, because it's such a condensed amount of hands-on experience that you get within a night or a weekend event. It's just, I think a lot of people want to try to make a business out of it, and they have to realize that it is very sporadic on the tournaments.
Yes.
And you have to sit around for a very long time. A lot of people, I've had people fall asleep on the mat side that have worked for black belt sports medicine.
Yeah.
So, even just the high school wrestling match, that's a great stepping stone into combat. You get to learn. Yeah.
That's what I tell people all the time, even with wrestling. Like, wrestling is growing so much more here in Texas, and not everybody's a football guy, and it's okay. It's completely fine. A lot of ATs don't like wrestling. I get it. It's okay. But, I'm a big believer that thankfully I've been blessed to be as successful as I am within this sport because of what I did in the traditional setting. So I worked college football for, I believe about 8 years. And it was those skills there that I did on the sideline, in the huddle, the on-field assessment, the long college football hours that, okay, this guy's coming in on Sunday morning after playing on Saturday night. Now I got to figure out, does he need imaging or not? Or it's Saturday night, do we have to go into the tent? Does this need an x-ray now? Can we pad it? Can we tape it? And, finding peace in the midst of that chaos. And the profession is changing a lot. The profession of athletic training is changing tremendously. And it's those reps. Go work the high school game, like you said. Go work the wrestling event. The rugby team that I work here in San Antonio, they knew I was working as the head football AT at one of the colleges here in the city. And they reached out, and their season's in the spring. I think it was right after my spring football. I was like, okay, I can do that. And next thing we know, we got somebody with a headbutt and a laceration over the eyebrow. So I'm getting my reps in for the next corner that I work. It's little things like that. I've loved what black belt sports medicine has done. I've kept up with them for a long time. And then, it's a niche for sure. And within the jiu-jitsu and MMA athletes that I work with as well, they love their ATs whenever they come across one, because everybody either played high school sports or, hey, I got injured in football and it was my athletic trainer that helped me. Or, I tried this other approach, it didn't work, but I worked with an AT and wow, you guys really get it. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I think it's even the range of athletes. I mean, in jiu-jitsu, we had beginners, we had masters, we had little kids to geriatrics, masters, I guess is what they're called. I mean, I had
my jiu-jitsu friends, you call them geriatrics. Okay.
I mean, I had to deal with masters, and it was two guys. They did a head-to-head. One of them was on blood thinners and just blood everywhere. I mean, he luckily won the match, but, it's thinking on your toes, getting the reps. You have to use your whole repertoire when you're working these events, ultimately, because you don't know what you're going to come across. You can get that at regular, traditional soccer tournaments, all that, because you don't know the kids, you don't know the athletes, but at these type of events, you get the whole spectrum. And I think that's very interesting. And I think those are some of the things that we're lacking in the athletic training programs ultimately is the wide variety.
Just like you mentioned right now, like go work the long soccer tournament. You'll come across a lot. I have one on Saturday. There's little things like that. You work in those long soccer tournaments, work the high school, middle school football games. You'll see a Collies or Smith's fracture with a little bitty wrist.
Yeah.
Little things like that, because again, if you do get the opportunity to work into like jiu-jitsu or within boxing, and you're doing the assessment, the eval, you've gotten your consistency as a student, as a professional, but now you're confident because you've seen this in a way bigger setting at a team level. And that's what I tell people all the time. I'm used to taking care of a team of on game day, 60. On practice day, it's 115 football players. Tonight, I just got to focus on you.
Yeah.
So, of course, sometimes I got more than one fighter I got to work with, but little things like that. And again, like the ETs that are coming out, take the uncomfortable, PRN position and go work hockey, go work rugby. If you really want to do contact, go. Let's try it. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. And, the biggest thing is if you do come across something, you just have to be knowledgeable. You just have to know what you don't know. Be comfortable with that. How do you become better? What are my limitations, and who can I look to become better in this maybe this domain?
Yeah. What does the future of combat sports medicine have in mind, or what are you trying to achieve next?
I know for sure I'll be in San Antonio, Texas for a long time. I've been blessed to work with different fighters, fly out to Las Vegas, fly out to California for different camps. But I know for sure I want to soon. I'll have a clinic, a walk-in clinic, whereas right now I'm a little bit more mobile. I'll see people at different gyms and, kind of meet them where they're at, type of thing. And that way it's a true brick and mortar. And little things like that, I don't think it'd be too hard. I just got to take that jump.
Gotcha. Well, I think we got a good roundabout idea of combat athletic training. Did we miss anything? Did you want to add anything specific?
Thank you for having me, Shelby. I think one of the biggest things is, growing up as a fighter, I had a laundry list of injuries, and my biggest thing was being the guy that I didn't have. Understanding these athletes that want to just bite down on their mouthpiece and come forward, and it's a very, very unforgiving sport, but it's beautiful at the heart of it, and for sure it like I kind of mentioned earlier. It's that physical manifestation of what a fighter has inside them that they put out in the ring. So that's where that passion is coming from. And a lot of these guys, they won't be the next, De La Hoya, Mayweather, George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor. That's, a small single-digit percentage. But if you're able to give them that fighting chance, or maybe even keep them in the game, keep them in the fight, to at least pursue their dreams in the most healthy way, that's a win. That's where I'm at right now. I've been blessed to be at the biggest stage, and I've had 4 world championships. And I tell my boys here in San Antonio, my favorite fight is your next here. Whether it's the amateurs, whether it's my local guys. If I make it back to the big stage, cool. Hopefully I'll make it there with you. And that makes all the difference. Just letting these athletes know that a healthcare professional is there and they're supported fully.
Yeah. Well, if anybody wanted to connect with you, how's the best way to do that?
On Instagram, Combat Sports Med, and then that's my personal Instagram. It's at Augie409.
Okay.
And then my Twitter is at Augie409 as well. But find my Combat Sports Med Instagram, and if I don't follow you back, shoot me a message.
Well, thank you so much for being on. It was great to talk to another combat athletic trainer, and I hope to have you on in the future.
That's it for today's episode of To the Bone. I hope we've sparked some new thoughts, challenged your perspectives, or simply reminded you to dig a little deeper. Remember, life isn't just about what's on the surface. Sometimes you've got to cut deeper and get to the bone of what really matters. To the Bone podcast is a product of Daily LLC. It's hosted and produced by Shelby Daly, ATC, and Randy Daly. No clinical decision-making should be based solely on one source. While care is taken to ensure accuracy, factual errors can be present. For more on the show, visit www.tothebonepodcast.com. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Get involved in the conversation. You can find us at www.tothebonepodcast.com. Drop us topic suggestions or be a potential guest. We're all about connecting with you, our listeners. Until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep cutting deep.